Water, Irrigation, Sanitation, Cabinet Secretary Sicily Kariuki. Is she eyeing a top seat somewhere? She was with Raila last week in Nyandarua. What was that about?
Well, Jeff, I want to refer you to Article 38 of the Constitution.
Go on.
It gives you and I a right to political choices. And it's a right that you have exercised extremely well yourself. One day you're with somebody speaking this kind of language in terms of the political persuasion, the following day you move on to the next one. And I really think that is what it is I was doing. I was exercising that right. But importantly, Jeff, you've seen the former Prime Minister in the presence of His Excellency, my President Uhuru Kenyatta. As a cabinet minister, reporting and appointed by the president, I follow cue. I watch what happens. If I hadn't seen my president with the former prime minister, you can be sure I would have been 100 kilometers away. So here is a leader, a respected national leader, coming to visit a county that I love, that is my county. It would be careless of me to be absent because you are either in or you're out. So really it is in keeping with a broad conversation in terms of leadership, but taking the cue of what happened after the handshake. What really happened? The project I speak about, having the ability to supervise my team to implement, only became possible also because there was relative peace and harmony across the country. And therefore, I would be absent if I was absent. And that's what it is about.
All right, so you didn't have any political ambitions of your own somewhere in there? Okay, you were born in Embu, you were raised in Nairobi, married in Murang'a. I'm trying to do the math here.
Schooled in Thika. Schooled
in Thika?
Yes.
I'm trying to do the math here.
Married in Nyandarua the last more than 30 years. That's home.
So, Governor?
That's home.
Let's put aside, let's just say it, call it.
Jeff, let me put it this way. At my level as a senior citizen in terms of leadership, but also years, I would be careless if I was absent of what's going to happen in a county where I have invested over half of my life. I would be very careless. And therefore, determining what happens, I am present. And I've not been shy about it. I will be present. I have been present. I was involved in 2016-17 quite intensely in ensuring that the manifesto and the promise and commitment that President Uhuru Kenyatta held for people then as he was seeking to come back was listened to and people made choices. And therefore, I have not been absent from politics. I have been very present. And indeed, I am very present even now.
Yeah, a lot of people, they see you coming and they hide around the corner. What is it about you?
Who hides?
People, when they hear Sicily Kariuki's in the house, people are scattering and scampering.
Which house?
What is it you do to people?
I think that my style, my leadership style is a bit different. Straight like that. I don't have time for non-issues, for example. I believe in living a course, doing your job and doing it very, very well. I had a mantra that I followed and it helped me. I grew up through very tough times as a lady. There were few of us, handful of us in tough spaces. And I grew to believe that 100% is not good enough. And that I still believe. So if a task is put before you, you have the necessary resources and networks, just do it. Yeah, leave an impact. Don't wake up to try and get shortcuts in life. I don't believe in that. Yeah, so if then you're not of that persuasion, I want to believe that you want to run away from me. I have no problem. But I make friends at the end of the day.
Before I go to the magic wall, real quick, the one project you'd say you are most proud of as CS Water, Irrigation, Sanitation. Is it Narok Sewerage? Is it, what's the one project?
Allow me not to say just one, but allow me to refer us back to Thwake Dam. Thwake Dam is in Mwea, It is a project that I was involved in conceptualization and design when I was a principal secretary in agriculture. Then irrigation also reported to that department. And therefore, doing a 360 and coming back again to the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, and finding the project is 80% done. Huge impact. It will be opening up an additional 10,000 acres put under rice. I feel very proud about it. I feel very proud about it. We had the rare opportunity of getting the president inspect that project last month. And yes, we all agreed it's going to be a game changer in terms of the food security, the economy in that area, the employment, but also putting investment where our mouth is, value for money. And I'm very happy about that project.
Okay. All right, let's go to the Magic Wall. Lots of questions coming from all over the place. James Lokwale says, what plans does the national government have to ensure the rural and urban dwellers of Loki Char Town benefit from the water to be piped from Thwake Dam to the oil wells?
Let me put it this way, Jeff, we have about 30% of the population to be covered in terms of water in the coming 8 years. We are being very methodical about it, and we are being methodical to the extent that I have set up a national task force that is identifying and prioritizing the next set of investments that will be undertaking in water and sanitation. And therefore, a project such as that will be covered in terms of it being given a priority, but also ensuring that it is funded. Number one. Number two, we've opened up the space for us to bring in private sector investment into water and sanitation for the first time. We are at a point of having a conversation with the National Treasury. We've already looked at the concepts, and we have realized we require about 100 billion shillings every year to be able to cover this journey. What is available currently is about 70 billion shillings per year. So to deal with that gap, it means that we have to also get resources from other sources, and here we have identified the private sector will be invited through mechanisms that are being worked through. And yes, our target of under the SDG framework of 2030, I want to believe that we are walking very, very surely towards that destination.
You need an extra 30 billion a year for the next 8 years.
Indeed.
Wow. Okay, there's another tweet here. Access to clean water is the #1 need for any people in cities, villages alike. I feel both levels of government have neglected the pastoralist communities in matters access to clean water. Can something be done? Access to clean water, especially for pastoral communities.
Agree, and that is why I say, unless we are very methodical and deliberate how we are planning our investments in the next cycle, it is possible some of these areas which, rain fails every so often will need to be handled in a manner that is a little bit sensitive. And that is why a product such as the Equalization Fund was actually supposed to target and address some of these areas. But I'm happy to also note, and I've shared this with you, that we are in 44 counties with irrigation projects. Some of these areas are covered. But like you will, population is growing, and therefore we keep on chasing a target because of that. Our towns are growing, especially with devolution, so we are chasing the target as we develop as a country. But we are deliberate about it. We are being deliberate about it.
Okay. Mono is asking, how can the government work with local and international organizations to help in distribution of clean and safe drinking water to affected communities? As much as availability of water is important, what is the focus on distribution of the same?
Water is a concurrent service, if you will, or sector. The last mile connectivity, which is a distribution component, falls within the water service providers. As it were, they are managed by the counties. And therefore, what is going to help going forward is having a very tightly knit understanding of an intergovernmental framework for us to ensure that when we do the major infrastructure investment, that the gentlemen and the ladies on the other side are ready to evacuate the water and get it to their households. So again, it comes back to the way the devolution and the Constitution envisage water delivery. It is from one hand to the other hand, and therefore constant coordination, communication, checking on each other, monitoring. We all must work as a unit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Simba is asking, does the CS know the water predicament in Langata? I welcome her to NHC Langata tonight, the only night the estate is supposed to have water in a whole week.
I'm aware. I mean, I really am aware. I have friends and relatives living in Langata, and I can confirm that that is the situation. Wednesdays, from what I get from Nairobi Water, is when water is availed in that space. However, help is coming, and help is coming soon, because we have this project which is known as the Nairobi NCT. It's a big project that is going to evacuate an additional 140,000 cubic meters into Nairobi. It is anticipated by June this will be happening, and therefore there will be relief. We have laid the infrastructure to be able to convey water to areas up, including Langata. However, again, I come back to say evacuating water to NHC Langata is really in the hands of Nairobi Water, as it were. But they can only evacuate what has been delivered to them. And that is why, again, the projects that we are investing in, the big project, the NCT, which is a big project, once we evacuate additional water, then we'll be able to have it evacuated to the estates, as it were.
So Simba can rest assured he'll get water real soon?
Yes, he can.
Okay. Evans Wakari is saying, in terms of percentage, how many Kenyans have access to clean water? That's a good question. What's the percentage?
The percentage, or in terms of number, the percentage currently is 70% total population. This is an increase from 53% when Jubilee government came in. And therefore, again, you are seeing an additional 12 million Kenyans that did not have clean water then are actually able to access clean water across the country.
Will we be able to achieve our SDG goals in 9 years of clean water for all?
We will. Next year, we are working to 80% target. And yes, the difference, which is going to be 20% differential, is what we are planning. We are doing the investment planning right now for us to work towards the 100% target. Barring an explosion in population, like I said, it's a moving target, but also bringing in technologies that help us in efficiency in utilization of water, and also getting citizens being also responsible in the manner that they use the water. I mean, it comes to you and you go washing all manner of cars with potable water, reasonably careless. Importantly, the water service providers also minding the current water that is lost because of either vandalism or where you have just criminal activity, where you come in and, prick a pipeline for you to be able to extract water. So it will take all of us being responsible to do what it is we each need to do for us to get to that target. Absolutely.
Alex Corio says, what happened to Oloitokitok water supply program? People are eager to know.
The Oloitokitok water supply program, that project is actually complete. Of the 44 projects that were completed in the last quarter, Oloitokitok is one of those projects. What we are working at currently is capacity building the water service provider to be able then to run their business.
Okay.
And ensuring the water goes to the homesteads. The connections, as far as I'm concerned, the connections are ongoing right now, and therefore my friend should be able to consult with the water service provider on the ground, and if he's ready for connection, then he will get his connection.
Oh, but it's complete?
It's complete. It's complete.
Katebe SK is asking, ask Madam Kariuki, plans to pump, is that Kir Dam or Kir Dam Phase 2? To my historical town of Karbatonjo in Baringo. Mothers here have suffered for years, scaling hills in search of clean water.
I want to assume that could be part of the Chemususu Dam, and if it is, therefore, again, we are at the tail end of completing that project from the Chemususu Dam. If it's a different project that I may have missed in my visiting the small project, then I can only check and get back through you, Jeff.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough. Clement Ombete is saying, kindly ask the CS for Water, Honorable Sicily Kariuki, to comment on the perennial flooding in Nyando area and Budalangi. There were plans to build a dam. Any progress?
There is currently ongoing works around the Nyando area, ongoing work. There is planned also a bigger investment known as a Soin Koru. It is currently going through the motions of contracting. That is what is going to give us, if you will, permanent resolution of this flooding situation in that area.
Absolutely. Okay. Bonti Arab says, what immediate plans does the CS have for our polluted rivers? For example, Nairobi River, which has suffered for more than 75 years unabated. We'll talk about sanitation pouring into. A
couple of things are happening. I'll speak to the fact that we have only commenced implementation of major infrastructural upgrade and investment around Nairobi. We have already invested in the main conveyancing or trunk lines around the informal areas and the densely populated areas. Currently, between this year and the year 2023, we are investing in expanding the network, the laterals, to be able to evacuate and be able to direct that wastewater into Dandora or Ruai that I spoke to. So there is ongoing investment, and in the next 3 years, then water or sewage or dirty water that is finding its way into the river system will be a thing of the past. In the meantime, we are rehabilitating any, if you will, sewer burst that is ongoing. We are also putting up ablution blocks around the informal settlement, which is also a major source of polluting the river system, and therefore there is work that is ongoing. But inside 3 years, we'll look good.
Yeah. Okay. These are SMSs now. George Omondi Olago is asking, the residents of Imara Daima 5 Club here, 5 Club area, have been living without water for 3 weeks now. Madam CS, please do something. Imara Daima V. Is that 5 Club? V Club?
Olago, please kindly get in touch with Nairobi Water Company. This is the person who is responsible for ensuring that water finds its way to your house. They have a number that you are able to get to them, and they have assured me, they do assure me oftentimes, that inside 36 hours they should have given you a response by way of availing water. This again is within or working concurrently with NMS or under NMS, and they should be able to sort you out.
Imara Daima, okay. Mohammed Bangal, okay. Ask Madam Waziri, what is she doing with the crisis in Bangal town? Whoa. Tana River County, where people and animals are starving due to no water at all. Please and please help Bangal people. Tana River.
Mohammed, I can almost assure you that my team, which is serving that area based in Mombasa, will be giving you a response by availing the rare commodity to you.
Justin, why does the ministry still allow, since creation, rainwater to flow freely to the ocean year in, year out? All they require is to harvest this water to be used during the dry season, do a number of ponds along the rivers, Athi River, for example, to contain water during flooding seasons. We lose hundreds of millions of liters every season, and we keep talking about that, don't we, Madam CS?
We do, Justin. I mean, I can relate to that concern, but I'm also happy to note for the first time we have a regulatory framework that is going to ensure that this becomes a reality. That has just been processed out of Parliament, and we will then be implementing the interventions that are anticipated or envisaged within that regulatory framework. It's a new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wycliffe Onyalo from Kamakis says, how far has the NARSIP 2 project progressed? The wider Roiro along Eastern Bypass is now full of flats, but no sewer system. Most properties drain wastewater on the roadsides. The contractor who was doing the main trunk behind Kamakis ran out of sewer pipes and left the site unceremoniously. Whew. Any plans to connect the entire area with sewer under NARSIP 2?
Absolutely. We are on course, and I spoke about the next 3 years. We've just commenced work. That's under NARSIP 2, and in the next 2-3 years, we will be done with the entire of that area, covering all the way to Embakasi and moving again up all the way to Ongata Rongai. Yeah.
Contractor J&K, that's not me at all. It has nothing to, that's not me. Kindly ask us why we have not been paid for working in Lodwar at a project known as Peace Dam from last year, December to June 21. That's in Lodwar.
Contractor J&K, I hope it is you that I met at some point. You will be paid for work done, and I said as much. Do not bring figures that you cannot substantiate. If that is what I remember of that project, you will be paid for work done if you haven't already been paid.
You are just no nonsense. You just call things like they are.
Straight like that.
Yeah.
Straight like that, because I mean, we can't beat about the bush. You don't go and inflate stuff and you want to make us look like we don't know what you're doing. Not so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contractor, you have heard. She has spoken. Anonymous says, hello, Jeff. Tell Kariuki that residents of Modogashe town of Garbatula sub-county, Isiolo County, buy a 20-liter jerrycan of water at 100 shillings.
Anonymous, I take note. We are able to deal with the tariffs for water that is regulated. Unfortunately, when it is, off a jerrycan and we don't know the source, then it becomes a little bit difficult. However, again, your service provider on location should be able to work with WASREB, and they should be able to determine if it is within a source that it can be tariffied.
You just answered everybody's question. There's no more. There's no more. You've just done it.
Good.
Well done.
Teach me about politics. Thank you very much.
I look at you and I say, this woman is no nonsense.
Teach me about politics.
Very good conversation, by the way. Okay, moving forward. I asked you earlier on, what would you like your legacy to be? But you've worked in like 4 or 5 different ministries. This one here, you have 9 months to go. What would you like it to be?
I like for people to, a couple of things. One, to recall that a lot of reforms, policy and legal regulatory reforms, have happened in my time. Water policy, the sessional paper on water of the year 2021, I want to be happy about talking about it. 5 sets of regulatory frameworks that are going to guide how the sector looks like, whether or not I'm there, have all gone through processing, cabinet, and out into parliament and out for implementation. I want to see the commencement of those regulations. Number 3, we've set up for the first time what we call fleet under irrigation. We call that is a farmer-led irrigation development framework. Again, we've set the guidelines, and I want that to be able to take off, and I can be able to look back and say yes, because we went to the micro details. We got those regulations, and they counted for something. I would also want to be remembered for having pushed a bulk of projects, and I can count 1, 2, 3, 100 plus, in my days. But I want to also be on record as having challenged my team of engineers in terms of the lead time between project conceptualization, mobilization, and implementation through to completion. Previously, as I came in, and I had a very interesting conversation with the engineers that I found in the ministry, and I said, everybody's complaining, why does it take very long for you to implement a simple project like a borehole? And they said, because and because and because. And I said, what if we do it differently? And they moved around and they rolled dice and they came back. They came back with a solution that is able to give us a sinking, for as long as you're funded, sinking, equipping, reticulating water from a borehole in a record 2 weeks. Previously, it did 2 years. And we were not even quite complaining. So I want to have to be on record as having challenged my team to think somewhat differently, and to be able to see that the person who puts them in office is Wanjiko on that side. The longer you take before you complete a project, the more you're denying that Kenyan a service. Water is life, we say. Yeah. Sanitation is dignity. Irrigation stands for food security. So the minute you delay execution of any one of these projects within any one of these spheres, you're either denying life, you're either denying dignity, or you're pulling out life security from an innocent Kenyan. And therefore, I have challenged the status quo. I have put in a framework in consultation with my team that every 100 days, I want the CEO to be able to tell me which projects are you focusing on that you'll be able to deliver to either 100% complete, or you'll be able to move from 50% to 80%, and we sit and have a conversation like this, friendly normally, but we are free with it. and once we agree,
yes,
then I sit back and I keep monitoring. I do a lot of impromptu inspection visits. I want to find the contractor there in case there's a problem, then we can be able to resolve. But of course, this is all becoming possible because we also have a framework under the coordination framework of ministers and cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, where we ask questions. If land is what is stopping implementation of a project that I'm supervising, then my colleague and sister Farida will be able to support me to be able to push on that particular element. If the issue is security, we had the other day in Mandera a water sewerage project that was not moving. And my colleague and our chair coordination was able to actually resolve by securing us and getting the contractors go back to site. And therefore, that also has helped. But importantly, and I must thank His Excellency the President, he's held each and every one of us very, very accountable. And if he calls from wherever and is asking for a project X, it's because something is going wrong there. And I think half the time you don't want to be caught up by your boss. And you don't know whether the project in Oloitoktok is going or coming. And that has also given us a different methodology in terms of how we work.
Yeah, that's a phone call you don't want to get, huh?
If it comes, you deal with it, but you also want to be sure how things are looking. And that is why, for me, this framework helps me. Today, if you ask me where water was tracked, in the Asal areas, most likely I'll tell you. I'll tell you because then I hold my team also responsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me something. Will my water bill ever come down? My monthly water bill. I'm just asking. Every month I get that bill, and I don't see it going down anytime. I
think it will, Jeff, because one of the critical inputs into your bill is also electricity.
Yeah.
My sister CS Monica is busy working to fulfill the directive that you bring down the electricity cost by 30% or thereabout going forward. She's working hard on that. So when that happens, most likely you'll see also an equivalent decrease or reduction on the bill. But importantly, and perhaps it's not for you, this could be for your auntie in the village, we are moving away from powering, say, water boreholes using electricity, again, because of the cost. We are doing two things. We are responding to the climate change impacts, and therefore we are moving to solar. That also has a marked reduction in terms of cost. Where boreholes, and we have several, where they were powered by, from the grid, we're actually moving out and moving to solarization, just to be able to respond to that. So yes, I want to believe. Once we are also done with the ongoing investment, which is quite substantial in terms of infrastructure, it will be possible then also we can be able to see some reduction. Recall, we set the tariff in a methodical manner, and there are parameters that are looked at to be able to inform. But the water service provider must apply for either revision looking at the O&M and the cost that make up your bill.
Nairobi Water, are you listening?
Yeah.
I hope they are.
No, Engineer Muguna is listening. I want to believe he is.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to believe he is.
Life, dignity, food security.
Yes.
That's what you say.
Yes.
Water, sanitation, irrigation.
Irrigation.
Sicily Kariuki, good luck. Good to talk to you, as always.
Thank you.
Very engaging conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Madam Governor.
Oh, you said it.
You heard it here first. Thanks so much for being a part of this show, and for your tweets and your SMSs and your questions. This is very important, especially when water has to do with life, and life is water. It's dignity and food security. Thanks so much for being a part of this episode of Jeff Koinange Live. If it's Wednesday, it's all about those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other, JKL. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night, good luck. God bless you all. Santisana Waziri, good job.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.